Reversing cognitive decline. 3 easy brain-saving tricks that work. Right now, someone in America develops Alzheimer's every 65 seconds. And if you're a woman, you're twice as likely to develop dementia as a man. And the scariest part, the damage doesn't start in old age, it starts decades earlier. New research shows that brain changes can begin up to 20 years before symptoms appear. But what if I told you that brain decline isn't natural? Your brain was built to stay sharp for life as long as you treat it right. If you're experiencing memory loss, there is something stealing your memory. And the good news is that it is possible to start to slow the decline and even potentially reverse it. So stick with me because I'm going to tell you 3 easy things you can start today that can improve your memory in just days and could literally change the future of your brain health. So these strategies are simple, they're fast, and they're science-backed because let's be real, they're not easy. We're not going to do them. So let me ask you a question. Have you ever walked into a room and completely forgotten why you're there? And it seems like that's happening a little bit more often lately. Or maybe you're spending way too much time looking for your keys again, and it's happening more and more often. I probably know what you're thinking. Is this just normal aging, or is it something more serious that's happening? Hi, I'm Julia Lundstrom. I'm a neuroscience and brain health educator, and I work with men and women every day to help improve their brain health and help to prevent dementia. What you're experiencing isn't normal, but it is extremely common. So let me explain. So your memory issues are not a natural part of aging. There is a silent culprit behind your memory issues, and it's something so common yet so destructive. It's actually shrinking your brain. And the worst part is that most doctors aren't even talking about it. So what is this silent culprit? It's stress. But it's important for you to understand why stress is likely responsible for your memory issues and how you can reverse the damage before it's too late. So let's have an honest discussion about stress. So we all know that feeling when you have 1,000 things to do on your to-do list. You're feeling rushed, you're feeling a little overwhelmed, right? That's your cortisol just flooding your brain. So cortisol is your stress hormone. When you're feeling your heart racing and your palms maybe are getting sweaty, that is cortisol flooding your whole body, including your brain. It is your stress hormone, and it directly eats away at the memory center of your brain, one of the memory centers of your brain, the hippocampus. And don't kid yourself if you think you're not stressed. Our really intense American lives of just go, 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 go from the moment we wake up, and we somehow think it's acceptable. A lot of people look at it as a badge of honor, is actually shrinking and destroying your brain, and especially the memory sector. And I mean, as an example, we have a client who's 58, she's a teacher, and she came to us at just her breaking point. It was a low, a really big low. She was teaching full time. She was trying to get her kids through expensive colleges, and she was taking care of her aging mom. And she was just drowning in these responsibilities, right? We know this caretaker thing. We've all been there, or we know someone that's been there. Caretakers have the hardest jobs on earth. And one day in class, she forgot not one, but a few of her students' names. And now these are names she's known all year. I'm not talking about a student she just met, okay? And then one day, she had this pure moment of panic when she was driving to the grocery store in her car, a road she's gone down 1,000,000 times, and all of a sudden, she just had this moment of, where am I? Where am I going? How do I get there? Just this insecurity of, oh my gosh, I don't know how to get to the grocery store. Right? And then she quickly remembered. We call that a little brain glitch, right? We call that a little senior moment, but that's a big one, and that had never happened before. And it's a symptom. It's your brain screaming, right? Saying, please, I'm fried. My nervous system is fried. Everything is fried. Slow down. And that's when she started worrying that maybe there was something more happening than just, plain old forgetfulness or being distracted or a little too stressed, right? And we see this all the time. She was under a ton of stress, and her stress hormone cortisol was constantly flooding her body all day long, causing significant memory issues. So let's have an honest conversation about cortisol, because it's not all bad, but it is like the Goldilocks hormone. You need cortisol in the right amounts at the right time. In fact, you would die within 7 days without cortisol. So too little in the morning can make you feel really sluggish and exhausted all day. But too much cortisol at night can keep you lying awake all night, right? Wishing for sleep. We've all had those nights. So you need just the right amounts of cortisol. And unfortunately, most people have too much cortisol just coursing through their bodies and through their blood at the wrong time, which absolutely causes major memory problems. It causes these glitches, right? These senior moments we like to joke about. But they're not normal. And when the stress never stops, again, right, our modern life, your brain starts to pay the price. There was a groundbreaking Harvard study that found that prolonged stress can reduce your brain volume by up to 3%. That's like aging your brain an extra 4 years. And that's every year. And the most shocking thing is women in high stress jobs show 3 times more cognitive decline than their peers. When we talk about women, we're also talking about caretakers here, right? Whether it's for kids or grandkids or parents, that is a lot of stress. I know there are men that are caretakers too, but overwhelmingly it's women. So every time you're laying in bed at 3 a.m. worrying about work, or you're worrying about your kids, or every time you feel stretched so thin you can barely think, you're not just feeling stressed. Your brain is physically changing. And here's where it gets a little terrifying. Scientists have found that the same pattern of brain shrinkage happens in early Alzheimer's. Let that sink in. Stress does the same thing to your brain as Alzheimer's. And maybe you don't think you're under a lot of stress. The truth is you're likely under a lot more stress than you realize. If you imagine life 1,000 years ago, or even 10,000 years ago, right? You're in a jungle. Saber-toothed tiger appears, your brain goes into full survival mode, cortisol kicks in, causing every ounce of your focus to be locked in on survival, giving you, honestly, superhuman power to outrun the tiger or smartly get away from him, right? Our bodies were designed to have this stress response for survival. It's a beautiful thing. But it rarely had to kick in back then. Now, if you fast forward to today, the tiger, well, there is no tiger in our modern world. Instead, the tiger has been replaced by your email inbox overflowing, your text messages coming through all day long, phone calls coming in, rushing to your next appointment, taxes and financial concerns, right? The breaking news updates popping up on your smartphone all the time, watching TV that is meant to get your blood boiling. Getting a medical diagnosis, even dealing with ongoing health issues or grief, loneliness or isolation, difficult family dynamics, right? Stress comes in 1,000 different forms, multiple times a day. But your brain, it just can't tell the difference between being chased by a tiger or experiencing any of these common everyday stressors. Basically, your brain thinks it's being chased by a saber-toothed tiger all day long. Imagine what that's doing to your brain. I remember when I was caretaking for my mom, I had her come live with me for 2 months, getting her, she had just got diagnosed with mild cognitive impairment. I put her into the Recode program, and I had the same thing happen. She came and lived with me. I had a 3-year-old that I was a full-time caretaker for, and my mom is living with me, and she was beginning to be like a kid herself. I had to get her to her doctor's appointments, go get her to her blood tests, go get her to her exercise. I had to feed every single person in my house every single meal, sometimes creating 3 different meals because she was on a very specific diet. I had to manage her supplements. I had to make sure she was doing all the things she needed to do, and trying to run this company. It was so exhausting. I was so fried. And I remember she had this one last blood test, and it was for heavy metal, and they pumped all this stuff. She sat in IV for like 4 hours, pumping all this stuff into her body. Her body was supposed to absorb it, and then she was supposed to urinate, pee it out. We were supposed to keep that urine for 24 hours, freeze it over for the full day, freeze it overnight, and then ship it out the next day. And it was this huge container. She had been collecting it the whole day. We put it in the freezer at night, and I woke up the next morning. It was expensive tests, right? These are not cheap tests. These are not in the ordinary tests that insurance even covers. And I remember I opened that freezer and I looked inside, and the bottle was empty. And I grabbed it and I just snapped. I remember being so angry, and my mom walked into the room and I screamed at the top of my lungs. I was so mad. I was at my wit's end, and I just saw her face drain. She had no idea that she did it in the middle of the night. She had no idea what I was talking about. In that stressful moment, her brain wasn't working. And she just absolutely felt so bad. And I started crying and screaming and yelling. And I saw this look on her face that just made me feel so shameful that I was doing this to her. And I just crumbled. I was at my low. I couldn't do it anymore. And this is what was happening. My brain was just stuck in this constant fight or flight mode, right? And I hit rock bottom in that moment. And that's why so many of us feel like our brains are constantly foggy and forgetful and exhausted and reactive. I was so reactive. I never would have talked to my mom like that, ever. I would have found a solution. That's what I do best. And I couldn't do it in that moment. I just snapped and reacted. And that's what happens when we're under this stress. It's like somebody just pushing down on you all the time. You just can't take it anymore. It's like a rubber band that just snaps. So even if you don't think you're under a lot of stress, look around. We've been conditioned to believe that the stress of modern life is normal, and it's not. Modern stressors are lurking everywhere. They're causing your memory problems. So I want to give you some easy solutions now on how to reverse the damage that stress has already done to your brain. But it's really important that you understand the simple science behind it first, okay? When we understand, then we can take responsibility. Stress has a shocking impact on your brain chemistry. Why? Right? We just talked about it. It hijacks your neurotransmitters. Chronic stress reduces serotonin, which is your happy hormone, right? So it leaves you feeling anxious and depressed. It just burns through it, and now you're just left with nothing. It floods your brain with cortisol, which we've already talked about, damages your brain cells, speeds up aging. It disrupts your dopamine receptors, again, your happy chemicals, and it makes it harder for you to focus and remember things and even feel joy. And I remember in that time, I wasn't happy. I didn't even know how to get happy in that moment. There's no way I could even think about something that would make me happy in that moment. So let's get to the good stuff. I want to talk to you about 3 super easy, quick tricks that you can do today that are going to dramatically reduce the stress in your life and start to reverse these memory issues for you, okay? By reducing your stress. And yes, even if you have 0 time. And I know you might be thinking, Julia, I barely have time to breathe, let alone reduce my stress, okay? And a lot of times I say, if you can't do these for 10 minutes a day, you need an hour, right? That's how important this is. You don't want to continue down this road with your brain in high gear all the time. It's going to fry out. You're going to get a disease. You're going to get dementia, right? We don't want that. So that's why I really want to share with you strategies today that are simple and fast, science-backed, right? Because let's be real, if they're not easy, we won't do them. And if they're not quick, we won't do them. So let's write these down or save this video for reference, because here are the 3 things that you can do starting today that can really decrease your stress and improve your memory. So the first thing, number 1, it's a 5-minute miracle morning routine. So do this before you touch your phone, right? Phone's on the side of the bed. Don't touch it, okay? You're laying in bed. Just open your eyes. Let's begin with 3 minutes of deep breathing. You can even do this while your coffee brews or while you're getting dressed, right? Yes, you can do it while you're getting dressed. Just 3 minutes of intentional, 3-4-5 breathing. So here's how to do it. So you're gonna breathe in for 3 counts. 1, 2, 3, in. Hold for 4, 2, 3, 4, and exhale for 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's it. You're gonna repeat this for 3 minutes. So why does this work? Because this simple trick lowers cortisol fast. It's like an emergency brake for your stress response, right? And you can do this multiple times a day, anytime you feel stressed. So, oh my gosh, I'm in a rush, just in for 3, hold for 4, out for 5. Even just one time will start to reset your nervous system. But you want to make sure you're doing it at least once a day. And this is a complete game changer. And it's scientifically proven to instantly stop the brain damaging effects of stress in its tracks. So do your 3 minutes of 3-4-5 breathing, followed by, and this is one I love, right? 2 minutes of gratitude practice. Now, why gratitude practice? I know it sounds cheesy, but this simple routine of breathing and practicing gratitude each morning can lower your cortisol by 50% by 50%. And this sets your brain up for clarity all day long. It's simple, but it's so powerful. So the second thing, number 2, and this is a 20-minute brain booster, right? No gym required. What if I told you that a 20-minute walk could be as powerful as an intense workout? Interested? Good. Science and Harvard Health Publishing have said this. In their article, Need a Quick Brain Boost? Take a walk. They explain that a brisk 20 to 30-minute walk increases the blood flow to your brain, and it stimulates your memory centers, and it helps flush out those stress chemicals. You can even pair it with your 3-4-5 breathing exercises while you're walking for that extra win. And even thinking about your gratitude, right? Just make sure to make it a habit every single day. It's really important you get out there and you're moving every single day. But walking checks off multiple boxes of my 10 pillars of brain health, right? And then there's number 3, and this is your nighttime brain saver. Let's create a shutdown ritual that tells your brain, hey brain, it's time to rest. So no screens, 1 hour before bed. I know that's really hard. A lot of people think that they want to fall asleep with their screen, but it really does make a dramatic impact. So no screens, write down tomorrow's tasks. Just get them out of your head. Like, what do I gotta do tomorrow, right? And then do something purely enjoyable for 15 minutes. No screens, 1 hour before bed, write down tomorrow's tasks, and then do something enjoyable for 15 minutes. Okay, super easy. What's enjoyable, right? What's enjoyable for you? Find something. I don't care if it's reading a good book, if it's going for that walk, but pleasure or joy, your brain needs it. And bonus points for practicing your 3-4-5 breathing before bed too. Your brain needs happiness. Sometimes we get so soaked into doing the right thing and what we should eat and all the healthy things that we forget to enjoy life and smile. Okay? Those are your 3 things. Doing those every single day will help your brain feel sharper right away, day 1. But before we end, I want to tell you about your brain's secret superpower. You now know that your brain literally shrinks under stress. But guess what? It's also capable of incredible repair and regrowth if you give it the right tools. It's called neuroplasticity. And it means your brain can literally rewire itself to be sharper and stronger and more resilient at any age. I once had a client tell me, well, your brain it's just static. It can't grow or shrink. And I was like, what are we looking at, 40-year-old science? Like we've learned 30 years ago that our brains have this plasticity and can grow at any age. Remember the teacher I told you about earlier? After implementing these 3 super easy, quick tricks that I just taught you, her memory and her health and her happiness dramatically improved within just weeks. She even started sleeping better, sleeping through the night. Her students noticed a difference in her energy and her focus, and so we know this works. But the real question is, what do you want your brain's future to look like? Because you have more control than you think. You can do this. It's not that hard. Put a little sticky note on your refrigerator or your computer or your mirror in the morning, okay, on your bedside table, whatever it takes, on this ceiling above your bed, whatever it takes to remind you. All right, so let's recap everything you can start doing right now to rewire your brain for clarity and start to reverse the damage that has been caused by stress. So you have your early morning brain saver, right? Start with a 3-minute 3-4-5 breathing exercise before checking your phone. I don't typically check my phone for the first hour, hour and a half in the morning. Then you want to follow that up with a minute of gratitude, a minute or two of gratitude. What are you happy for today? Maybe it's just that you got a good night's sleep. Or maybe it's that you're actually doing the breath work. And then a 20-minute walk every day, right? That walking increases your blood flow to your brain, stimulates your memory center. Actually, if you're having a hard time and you're tired, a walk will really, really help that. And it helps flush out those stress chemicals. And then your evening resets. We have morning, sometime during the day, and evening. We want to create that stress-free shutdown ritual that includes shutting off our screens 1 hour before bed, writing down our tasks to clear our mind, and then 15 minutes of pure joy, whatever that is. I don't know what that is, but just find something that gives you pure joy. For me, it's cuddling with my son, right? Maybe it's cuddling with your dogs. Maybe it's playing with your dogs. I don't know what it is for you. Find something. Your pleasure center needs it. It's good for your brain. And again, bonus points for doing the 3-4-5 breathing exercise before bed too. So remember, every single time you choose to do one of these habits and make them a habit, get them into your life, you're literally rewiring your brain for clarity. You're creating these new neural pathways. You're fighting against cognitive decline. So don't miss any of our videos giving you the latest tips and tricks to start to reverse the early stages of cognitive decline. Give your memory that boost, feel sharper, feel alive again. Right? Hit that like button and be sure to subscribe to Simple Smart Science so you never miss one of our videos, okay? I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Try the breathing exercise now. Let me know how you feel immediately following it. I bet you're gonna feel very relaxed and clear-headed and energized. Remember, do this anytime you feel stress. I'm right here with you, cheering you on, because your brain's future is really in your hands. And all together, we've got this. Thank you.